Hi, all. My name's Jackie, Jacqueline, or JC, whatever you want to call me. Not attached. I've been in this challenge for, I think we're over halfway through it, and the challenge is to talk to your business and to talk to your body and see what your body and your business is asking of you, and to um, explore that with going directly to the source rather than, you know, checking outwardly as to, what's really required. And for some time, my business has been asking me to do videos, and it's been a source of heaviness for me. And I realized today that that heaviness is fear, and that heaviness is a lie. And that's something that Gary Douglas teaches. He teaches that the truth is light, and heaviness is a lie. And so, after listening to two of my favorite women, Megan and Suzanne, this morning, I recognized that it was the lie that was keeping me from doing what my business was asking of me to do. So, for those of you that don't know, one of the things that has been created in my life is what I've helped to create. What's been being created through me is what's called Present Junctures and Possibilities. And Present Junctures is an interesting, it started out as PJs and Possibilities. And the reason it started out that way is because I realized how much over the last couple years that my pajamas had contributed to my life. And that sounds really weird, but it's true. I have spent a lot of time in my pajamas, in my sweats, on my favorite spot on my couch, exploring me through books, through just inner contemplation, exploring those parts of me that I don't like, the parts of me I do, um, and it's been an interesting journey. It's been a fearful journey. Um, it's been a joyful journey. And I think that a lot of times we think that it's one or the other, and it's really all of it. And in order to have all of you, which is something that they talk a lot about in Access Consciousness, you really got to accept and allow all of you to come forward, and that means the fearful parts as well. And so today I'm kind of coming forward because this is what my business is asking of me. My business is asking of me to be open and to help others explore as well. Um, it's more of an assistance than a helping. It's not a I'm going to give you answers. Never has been. Although we all love answers, don't we? We all have our opinions. We all have our points of view. Um, but that's not what I do, and that's not what I'm about. And I think that there are many people out there that are not about that. And that was something that until recently I was not aware of. Um, and even looking back now at some of the people that I thought weren't about that, I'm recognizing that, maybe they were. What's the possibility there? So for today, for my business and this present juncture and the possibilities, I want to talk a little bit about fear. Um, and what are the possibilities of your fear? Why do we assume that our fear is something to be afraid of? We talk about judgments a lot, and judgment is being a bad thing. And is it necessarily a bad thing? What are the possibilities there? Um, it does create a lot of heavy energy in the world when we're judging other people and when we're judging ourselves. But there's also such a thing as good judgment. Using good judgment, discernment. So one of my favorite teachers, Larry Dillenbeck, teaches that, everything can be a resource and a limitation. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And when I found Megan and Suzanne, and their big word was "and," I was just like, oh. Thank God. You know, it doesn't have to be a certain way. Things don't have to show up a certain way. And recently, I showed up in a way that I never ever dreamed that I would. Um, it was a challenge for me to do that, and for me in that moment, it felt very light and it felt required. Um, and I look back on it now and I see the potential and the possible pitfalls, and I think that I saw them even before. And that's really the truth. You know, when we can look at something and say, I chose that because that was what was required for me in the moment. That's what was light. That's what was felt right for me in the moment. And it doesn't necessarily have to be right for everyone else. Um, we get to explore that, and we get to explore, you know, what comes after that. We get to explore ourselves even deeper. And how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that, that that choice created even more awareness in me than I had before? That's something that is talked a lot about in access consciousness. And I've heard Dane here say it many times that awareness doesn't create choice, choice creates awareness. And I would like to say that even that is an and, you know, because sometimes um, awareness comes from choice. Um, but, you know, when you're little, you don't have the choice around your environment that you do as a grown up. So I would say that that's an and, just like anything else. So as you're listening to a lot of what's going around in on Facebook and what's going around in your daily lives and even a lot of the access consciousness stuff. You know, when I first started listening, I would hear something and then I would hear completely the opposite. And at first I was like, well, that's kind of contradictory. And then I realized, well, it's and. It's not either or. And when we go into judgment about the either or, we're creating more internal struggle in our own lives. Um, Not necessarily in someone else's. It's really the struggle within ourselves when we're in that place of it has to be this way, or some outcome has to show up a certain way. Outcomes show up, and they don't always show up how we think they're going to, and that's okay. That's really okay. So I want to thank Megan and Suzanne for their wonderful radio show this morning, uh, and just kind of, you know, pushing me beyond that fear and the limitation that comes from fear, but also the possibilities that come from fear. Because I really realized this morning after listening to you, and I hope that you get to hear this, I have a feeling you will, um, that the heaviness that I was feeling around doing these videos is fear. And the fear was a lie. So, present junctures and possibilities, PJs and possibilities. You know, one of the things that came to me when I first started that, when that first came into my awareness, was to do videos in my pajamas. So here I am in my pajamas, presenting present junctures and possibilities and PJs, in my PJs, in my favorite spot on my couch where I've learned so much about me. And just being able to do this video, I know is going to help me move beyond this spot. Um, and I'll enjoy it when I get to come back to it. I hope that what I've shared today is helpful to somebody out there. It's been very helpful to me. Sending you all a lot of love and a heart full of joy. Thank you.